Okay, welcome to another episode of What's Really Going On in America. And with Quinn
What's up, guys? I'm Johnny. I'm the resident redneck moron.
and and before we start, get we do sell Human Lives Matter t-shirts here at WRGOA. Um it's of course human lives matter because we love humanity. And also, a portion of sales will go towards organizations that truly make human lives matter. And also, my friend and ally in the conservative movement created Pickaxe. He's the CEO of a great new free speech and free reach. And what that means is you can say what you want and you can also be heard. So, unlike most others, which you can say what you want, but you may or may not be heard. Um, so getting into it, most people think that fast food is the only way to be unhealthy. They have all kinds of theories, and most of them are true. But what if you find out and maybe you're not a fast food either? Well, guess what? The things that you fear in fast food may be in your ordinary everyday eateries in your own supermarkets, even in so-called health food stores like Whole Foods and stuff, and those kind of places. And don't trust the labels on the front that say organic or free, calorie free, or gluten free, and whatever else they say. Because in the ingredients, it may be something there'll be things in there that you do not want in your foods. So Johnny, what kind of foods you eat at home that you would make from a supermarket?
So I am the epitome of a man child. I love takeout food. I love fast food. I love a lot of processed food. Now that being said, the irony of that is I don't eat candy, like ever. I don't drink soda. Obviously, those are bad for you. Um, Mainly because I'm too lazy to work out. I don't want to actually put any effort into being healthy. Um, so like as far as like home stuff, we do a lot of free range chicken, pasta, stuff long simple stuff because just time. Is it the most healthy thing in the world? Definitely not. But at least we're not, scarfing our faces with, TV dinners and everything from the discount section, which is just filled with poison. When we'll get into that as far as cheap food is trash and is killing you.
Well, it doesn't even have to be cheap. It can be expensive too. And we're going to discover some of those expensive things. One of them, Lucky Charms. You think, oh, it's unhealthy for kids because of the sugar. Take a look at what's in here, and you're thinking, oh, what's in here that's so bad? Well, yellow number five. And just to let you all know ahead of time, we're going to talk about the high risk this week. If I went through the limited risk and risk free and all these other lower risks, we would be here for hours. So we're only going to go through the high risk additives, So yellow number 5 and 6. Thankfully, red 40 is gonna get out of there. I believe that's the one that got banned.
I'm
Am
pretty
I
sure.
right,
Yeah,
John?
I'm pretty sure that was the one that was at the top of the list. Because it's banned in like every other country that is even remotely civilized.
Yep. Blue number 1, but then here and now, here it is. Trisodium phosphate. That's when I first learned that chemicals were going in my food. And and the one thing, so I went looking for trisodium phosphate. You'll never guess where I found it. That ingredient.
Why do I have a feeling that that's some sort of preservative that is meant to keep dead things from smelling bad?
Hmm. Probably true. But I actually found it in Home Depot in the painting section.
Hmm.
Yeah. And from my understanding, it's a paint thinner.
Oh yeah. Well,
So imagine what it's doing inside the bodies of many, many, many kids out there. And you're thinking, well, the big corporation. So if you're a liberal, more than likely you're gonna say, oh well, the big corporations bribe the government. Okay, if that's true or not, but let's say that's true. What does that say about your own government that they can easily be bribed? And,
yeah.
and it's not even a party thing. It's whoever's in the FDA and USDA that's allowing poisons in our food and water supply.
Well, so and that's why like we were talking about pre-show, like I'm not anti these organizations 100%. I like the idea that somebody smarter than me is telling these companies you can't do something. But what it really comes down to is preserving the food. I'm sure you've noticed that there are laws about a restaurant giving its leftover food away at the end of the night or donating it, because God forbid we give something away to somebody who could use it. Also, like shelf life, the cost of it, things along those lines. It's You can't just blame the corporation on this. I wish it was that simple. We just say, nope, they're cheap. This is a cheaper way of them producing their product. But when you have all of these rules and regulations set by the federal government as far as what they consider appropriate standards, that's why we have this nonsense, because you're not going to produce a cereal that's only allowed to sit on a shelf for 3 days until it expires based off of some arbitrary number. Um, so you want it to have a higher shelf life, because if you can buy it and it can only sit in your cabinet for 2 days, you're not going to spend the money on that product. It's a perishable thing. Uh, yeah, it's a very very interesting slope to go down.
And and you know who benefits out of all of this? Big pharma and healthcare facilities like your local hospitals, because the when our health it when we have poor health, it makes them great wealth.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Like it's a one hand washes the other type of thing, and like the whole like ancient Rome thing. Let entertain them, and they'll leave you alone essentially. Well, that's what we have our football and sports. Whatever sport of choice you decide to choose. Why do you think that's government subsidized? Because it's entertaining you. It's keeping your eyes focused on something that they don't care about. They want you watching something and paying attention to something that keeps the eyes off of them. The same thing, with the food stuff. That like we've been saying that food in our country is terrible for a very long time. Go. The best example I had that I witnessed personally is soda. Have a Coca Cola here in the United States, anywhere in the United States. And I had a Coca Cola when I was in Central America. It tasted different, a lot different. Maybe because half the chemicals that go into crap that's served here is not allowed there. They're using natural sugars, they're natural food coloring, stuff like that. It's the same product. It kind of tastes the same, but you taste the difference. It's kind of like, if you drink city tap water versus, somebody on a well or somebody with, a proper filtration system. Yeah, it's just water, but there is that noticeable difference. You can taste it.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like the Allentown water here. It was I tried drinking it out of the tap because thinking, "Oh, it's water," but it was so horrible that I ended up for a while getting filtered water from the supermarket before my landlord decides to put a filter in the house because she was tired of buying the bottled water.
Exactly.
And I could definitely taste the humongous difference between the two, and it was so much better with the filter. And and that's okay. So so sometimes I'll have waffles, or would I? Now now let's see. What is I okay, sodium aluminum phosphate and the monocalcium phosphate. Wow. Especially the sodium aluminum phosphate, and monocalcium. Now, these sound like some great words, but they are high risk additives. Just named, it sounds to make it sound like it's something it's not. It's not risky. Because who wouldn't want calcium? Who would oppose to sodium?
Well, I mean, I like to chew on aluminum, but honestly, just my, from my background, aluminum should not be in your body. So we're I worked in an aluminum certified shop. I'm aluminum certified, and in order to work on aluminum, respirator at all time, a clean room with its own basically filtration system to evac anything that you're working with because it's dangerous to be in your body.
Exactly. And but yet the people, and it's funny because for the longest time I would think I was eating food, but then I tried eating healthier. But no matter what foods I go to, or no matter what drinks I go to, it's all unhealthy because it's fruits and vegetables. Sure, I can look a whole lot better eating nothing but fruits and vegetables. Look stronger, be stronger, while being unhealthy on the inside because of pesticides. That because you know the government says, "Oh yeah, put some poison on those fruits and vegetables," and it's like, so there's no way to win at the moment. And when people and we the people need to stand up against all this.
What people so what people need to understand, buy if you're buying produce, buy local. Um, just because chances are, well, I can't even really say chances are anymore because Monsanto kind of has the lockdown on the seed industry. But when you're buying local, it's going from a farm to either a grocery store or a farmer's market nearby. So the need to preserve the produce is much lower because it's not going to spend the next week of its life on a truck going from Kansas to Florida. Um, and we've become so spoiled where we want all of these certain things year round, especially when they're out of season. Well, guess how you make things grow out of season? You either grow it somewhere where it is in season and figure out a way so it doesn't perish between that location and where you're buying it, or you're genetically modifying it to the point where it'll grow where it shouldn't, when it shouldn't, and it's just not natural anymore. So, yeah, pick on me for eating, Burger King and Domino's because I'm putting poison in my body. But at the same time, your little fruit and veg diet is probably just as detrimental to you, in its own way. Like, I know I'm gonna have clogged arteries. I know I'm gonna have like congestive heart failure. Like, I drink like a fish. I smoke like a chimney, and I eat junk food like a toddler with no oversight. I know this. However, I don't need people telling me that, oh, well, vegetables are healthy. Well, okay, yeah, they're probably healthier than eating an entire pizza in a sitting. But, you're putting different chemicals in my body that are going to have different effects and different things that, guess what? Nobody knows about because, those big evil corporations you talk about, they give money to the big evil politicians who allow them to do that. So politicians. The corporations only get away with what your politician allows them to, aka what you allow them to. You willingly put this crap in your body.
Exactly. And so it's like you'll have clogged arteries with pizza while your fruits and vegetable neighbor will end up with cancer because of the pesticides.
I'll tell you what, if I had to choose of dying a horrible food related death, I'm going to pick junk food every single time. Like, I'm not going to be on a fruit and veg diet and then still die terribly because of the food I put in my system. I at least want to, I don't know, have something that I enjoy. I'm not a vegetable eater. I pretty much limited to potatoes. And because potatoes are wonderful. They're like the duct tape of food. Like, there's endless amounts of ways of preparing potatoes.
Yep.
I get it.
So
I'm unhealthy. I know this. I am not the one to sit here and give you health advice.
so the last ingredients was from Legos. No, the Egos. Now let's go to a next set of waffles, but they're not organic, but gluten free. Sounds healthy. But let's see. This. Let me find because they really like to. Ah, here we go. Monocalcium phosphate and sodium acid. Oh no, that wasn't it. Yep. So the monocalcium phosphate is in this gluten free, which sounds healthy. When you're looking at the box, but when you look at the back of in the ingredients, you'll find some high risk additives to kill you a little bit faster without even you know it. But it's still gonna, kill us slowly because, well, it doesn't give us instant reactions to our body. It takes time.
It's one of the things that I'm kind of laughing at the opposition to what RFK is doing. There's I don't think what he's doing has any political gain to it whatsoever. And in fact, if what he's doing is shining the spotlight on, you know, the big evil corporations, as they love to pick on, for putting poison in our food, let him expose what's going on. Let him expose the poison in the food because it's no different than what Doge is doing. you're just upset with who's doing it. Like, if let's just say all of this was happening under our Harris administration, the people who are up in arms would be absolutely going insane. But to be fair, the people on the right would be doing they would be going nuts because, like, yay, they're trying to ban this, they're encroaching on my rights. And that's why, like, the conversation's almost like pointless because I don't like who's doing it, even though I like what they're doing, but I'm not gonna like it because that guy's got a mean tweet or whatever we're upset about these days.
That's true, and that's a very good point. To me, I don't care who does the job, just get the job done. And if Biden would have done the job during his administration, it would be the at least I could say he's done one good thing. But he didn't do anything. Everything that Biden said he could do, Trump is doing. And RFK is doing, Jr. is doing, and helping doing, and Elon Musk is helping doing. And and I hope that Kennedy Jr. really take. Honestly, I think we need to defund the USDA and FDA and leave it to the private sector. And if poisons are in our foods and water supply, only then should the government get involved. But we need to keep a tighter leash on the government.
What we need to do is we need to figure out, one, why is this stuff in the food? Who allowed it? Okay, now that we start with that, then we start holding people accountable. We do need to figure out what is and is not safe to be consumed by human beings. Um, Unfortunately, like, I would love to say let's just privatize it, but I'm at that point in my life where I just don't trust anybody, and especially if they're in a position to make a buck off of it. And everybody says, "Okay, well that means you're for the government doing it." No, no, those freaking morons are out there to make a buck off of me as well, and just indirectly. So it's such a gray area as far as finding out a solution. It's like, okay, do we take government out of it completely and then trust the corporation to take care of the situation? Or do we get more government involved, which we all know what happens when more government shows up? It just costs a lot and jack shit gets done. So you're kind of stuck where no matter if you go 100% in either direction, nothing's going to change. And because everything's politicized. So let's just say we get rid of the FDA and the USDA, and then we just put in essentially an oversight committee. Nobody's going to listen to it, and the bribes are still going to come. Well, I'm sorry, not bribes. The lobbyists are still going to do lobbyist things because somehow that's not bribery. Freaking beyond me. But I just, oh man, we just become so corrupt, and people are just so deeply entrenched with, like, the way things are, and oh, we can't change anything, otherwise it's bad, blah blah blah. And like I was saying before, like, it's not that they don't like what's being done, they just don't like the who. Like, people are so one-sided, one issue with their ideology that they could literally be on fire and they would refuse help because they don't like the person that's offering help. And that like, once I started seeing that, like, you see these uppity morons on, like, Reddit, and saying like, oh yeah, I was stuck on the side of the road and it was freezing and my car was broken down, but a Trump supporter showed up and I told them to get bent because I don't need help from a Trumper. Update to that story, they fucking died.
Wow. Yeah, I take my help from any good person willing to help, even if we disagreed on everything, because it's humanity that matters,
Exactly.
not political differences. And and now I gave you some of the unhealthy things that kids and some adults eat.
Me, me.
Now let's go to something as simple as OJ, orange juice. Now you would think, ooh, that's healthy. It's oranges. Um, Take a look. This here is simply orange juice, medium pulp. And let's see. Oh, calcium phosphate. Mm. Would you believe that's actually a high risk ingredient that's in our OJ?
Well, that goes right back to the. I mean, this is one of those things where you can kind of blame it like on the greedy corporation. You saw that contains less than 1% juice part. Like that, look at any sort of juice product that you can buy at the grocery store, the convenience store, whatever. And a lot of it is concentrate. It's or it's just all chemical filler. Um, you're essentially buying like 4 drops of orange juice and a half gallon of water with a bunch of chemicals added in there so it appears to be healthy rather than just fresh squeezed. But at the end of the day, all of that stuff needs to be approved by somebody before it hits our shelves. The corporation doesn't just say, I'm going to hire this company that says this is okay for you to consume. No, no, their lobbyist goes to Washington and donates money to a thing, and then their stuff is now safe because it went through a committee at a bloated government agency with zero background. Where are the scientific, where are the studies on this stuff? Okay. For how long? Trust the science, Quinn. You gotta trust the science. Meanwhile, the science has been secretly killing us for how long now? How long?
Decades, if
So
not at least 100 years by now.
so blame the corporations all you want, people. Like that's fine. I don't care. They're gonna get away with whatever they are legally allowed to do. Okay. I work in the insurance industry. All right. I deal with insurance companies all day long. And they are going to do whatever they can by law to spend as little money as possible on outgoing expenses while retaining as much money coming in as legally allowed as well. Why is the food why are we treating the food people any different? Okay? Why? Oh, well, I'm not going to protest against General Mills because that cereal box is still kind of cheap and it hasn't pissed me off yet. Meanwhile, evil insurance companies. Dude, they're literally doing the same thing. They're just trying to minimize their expenses while maximizing their profits. And your government allows them to do it. Every single thing that these highly, highly regulated industries do has been approved by some politician, whether you like it or not, like them or not, approved. So maybe go look in the mirror and say, maybe my life sucks because of my decision and my lack of care to holding people who make the rules accountable.
Well, and get this. The calcium phosphates that's in this OJ um, could disrupt bone mineralization, have a harmful effect on the kidneys, and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, it could be present in the form of nanoparticles which may accumulate in organs. Uh,
You want to know? You want to know
like,
the ironic part is everybody who questions my food or beverage intake and says, "Oh, you need to be more healthy." I'm going to tell you right now, these these diet white trash beers are probably more healthy for me than any juice, and I know they're more healthy than any soda, just about any other beverage, processed beverage you're going to consume. This is essentially spicy water. That's it. Spicy water. Of course, I crushed a can before I got on here, so I have no idea what the ingredients are, but I'm pretty sure it's water, some hops, and then it sits in a barrel until it makes you see things funny if you drink enough of them.
Well, and then so now unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Now, what
Ye-
can we say
Call it what it is,
about
Quinn. Call it what it is. It's nut juice.
so there's six additives, but one of them is at a high risk. Dipotassium phosphate. And this so let's see. So could disrupt bone mineralizations, could have de- detrimental effect on the kidneys and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, it could be associated with an increase of risk of type 2 diabetes and breast cancer. Wow, eh, we're putting diabetes and breast cancer in supposedly healthy milk.
So I've have you ever had any of that? Like, have you ever tried like almond milk or any like that, whatever the crap they call it? It's terrible. I was desperate for some creamer for my coffee one morning, and I put some of that in, just not really paying attention. I was like, whatever, it's better than nothing. I threw it away. I threw away
That
coffee.
bad.
I threw away coffee in the morning. Quinn,
Hmm.
I am not approachable until I've had at least 2 cups of coffee in me, and I threw one of them away because it was so terrible. It ruined it ruined my delicious 24-ounce Colombian coffee to the point where I'm like, nope, gone.
Wow. And now I want to go back to the trisodium phosphate. Um, this here may have harmful effect on the kidneys and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. In addition, um, could disrupt the bone mineralization. So we're starting. So that being in kids' cereals, we're starting the kids out dying as early as possible because how many kids eat these poisons and and I know parents, it's very hard to get kids to eat fruits and vegetables, but even if you did get them to eat that, they would be eating the pesticides, which causes cancers. So, no matter what we feed the kid, I mean, think about it this way. If you came to my home and I made some burgers that have no additives whatsoever, and I put a little trisodium phosphate on those burgers, I would be arrested for attempted murder.
It's one of the so like with the parents like giving this junk to their kids. I I I want to be that person that says you're a bad person for doing that. Quinn, you work for a living. I work for a living. We don't even have children, and it's to actually make a good meal and then put the effort into finding the stuff that's not going to freaking kill you. It's a lot of work. And imagine, a mom, she just got home from work. She's got 3 screaming kids. It's like, you know what? Just shut up, eat a Pop Tart, and watch Blue's Clues or whatever the kids watch these days. And that's all it is because like mom, dad, the family just they need that like that just that wind down time, or they don't physically or mentally have it in them to prepare a proper meal because we're just so overworked, overstressed, just tired at the end of the day. and we've just fall back on this what is easy. So like I said, I love Domino's. That's my guilty pleasure. I am ashamed of myself for it because it's not even real pizza. But I'll tell you what, it's cheap, it's convenient. Um, I can go on my phone right now while we're talking, and you won't even know that I am making a food order. And I can tell them I want that here at 8:10, so we can end our thing when we're done. I can wrap up, and then boom, my doorbell rings. Like that. That's that convenience factor that a lot of this crap has, and you can't do that unless you have a personal chef. And that's where it comes down to. Like, look at what natural food, like actual natural food, no pesticides, no preservatives, like actual food that won't try to kill you. Look what it costs. The average American, especially the way the economy has been trending, can't afford to do that. They don't have the time to do that, which is why, you see these celebrities. Like, look at Jennifer Lopez. What is she now, like 55 years old?
Mm-hmm.
She is absolutely stunning. Um, Now, granted, they're celebrities. We're going to see them at their absolute best. But even when you see like those real cringy like tabloid photos, like we saw Jennifer Lopez driving a car. Well, yeah, that's what adults do. But she still looks incredible, and it's not because of anything outside of she has the money, the time, and the knowledgeable people around her to keep her healthy. Because that's everyone say, "Oh, money, money, money." No, no. Once you get to a certain point of comfort in your life, you now focus on health. That seems to be like the general consensus when I watch a lot of interviews. Yeah, I could go make another $10 million, but I want to preserve my body, my health, my brain to continue living a life that is worth living. Meanwhile, people like you and I, people on our economic status, we're just shoveling this shit into our face every single day, just essentially doing a full sprint towards the grave. And that's why what happens, like people who are fortunate enough to retire from like a working class family, kind of people, how long after they retire are they in the box? 5 years? 10 years? How many people don't even make it to that point where they can sit back and enjoy themselves a little bit? It's the outside stresses, and a lot of it's what we consume. Like we're slowly killing ourselves because we have to choose. Like, okay, well, do I have a place to live, a functioning vehicle to get back and forth to work, good, new clothing on my back, or do I spend $1,000 a week eating proper organic food, not the big label organic crap?
Well, now imagine this. You drinking water and it has no fluoride. It has it's it has electrolytes in it. Um, it's as pure as it can be, according to the front label. Okay, it basically you look at it and it's like, ooh, this is the best water ever. But then you look in the back and see the ingredients, and you see that it can cause bone mineralization and has de- detrimental effect on the kidneys and increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, it could be associated with increased type 2 diabetes and breast cancer. Guess what water that is? Essentia. That's right. It
One
the
one
purest.
of I'm gonna go like full anti-corporation right now because bottled water is the biggest scam. It's the biggest
Yeah, it
scam.
is.
And oh, it's healthier. Look, you go to the store, you buy like a Dasani. I don't remember exactly which brand it is. Like they market it like it's some kind of like it's better for you. Well, depending
Mm-hmm.
on where you live, because they're not going to bottle it in one place. It's not going to be that magical spring out in the middle of the woods like they have you believing on the commercial. It's the majority of it's filtered shit water. It's literally it's city water run through a filter. They add some crap to it to give it a little bit of a taste, which the best water tastes like nothing. That's just me. Like I love my house. Like we got really nice well. I run the water through a filter. It tastes like nothing. And it's the best thing in the world. I'm sure there's like some, ground minerals in it, whatever, but it's natural. It's no different than, if we were drinking out of a spring in, the year 1700. Meanwhile, like when I had my apartments and I lived, in a more urban area, I couldn't drink my tap water. And people looked at me like, "What do you mean? It's filtered. It's this, it's that." I'm like, "No. It messes with my stomach. I can't drink it." Like for example, if I wake up in the morning here, I can have a glass of water if I'm thirsty, and it just quenches my thirst. That is it. Now, when I was at my apartment, I would wake up, get a glass of water, and because I didn't have anything else in my stomach, I had nothing else in my body, period, after that because I was so violently ill. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't drink tap water here. All right. And I'm going to go buy bottled water. And all I'm doing is drinking filtered city water. And then, like you had mentioned before, like all the additives, the fluoride. Well, fluoride's good for your teeth. Exactly. It's also a freaking poison. You're not supposed to swallow it. All right. That's been talked about. That is like it's not even a conversation anymore. Okay. Like I'm not supposed to swallow the freaking mouthwash I use in the morning, but guess what? It's good for my teeth. Well, if I drink it, it's not good for me. And what was the stuff Alex Jones was going off years ago? It's turning the freaking frogs gay, like you know. And then it was like plastered all over the media like he was some kind of lunatic. And then it finds out that it's actually causing amphibians to change their biological sex. Like, look, I'll be the first to admit Alex Jones is a freaking crackpot, but he's been right about way too many things to completely discredit him. Like maybe like put him in a cage somewhere, like kind of filter what comes out of his face, or hey, all those fact checkers we had that are like kind of not employed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could bring them back. Like they love digging shit up. Like let's put them back to work. Or maybe just maybe they weren't actually fact checkers because they didn't have any facts to come back to combat whatever they were complaining about. So in your group, I saw somebody post something about I don't even remember what the topic was. It was something Elon related. And all right, cool. You cited a source. That's amazing. That is like so much better than I'm normally used to. Yeah, well, the point they were trying to make wasn't even in the source. In fact, the source that they provided actually contradicted what they were saying. Like, oh, well, it's something like I said, something that Trump did because now President Elon, whatever these morons are saying. And so I read the article, every single word. Then I find out that it was posted by a page that then had a website. So the citation that the page used is owned by the page. So okay, so I go get johnnybateman.com. All right, I am now a news organization, and every single time somebody wants citation or proof in article form that something I said needs citation, I will provide them a link to my website with an article that I wrote because that's what they're doing. It's honestly it's humorous.
Yeah, and so I wish fact checkers would dig up all this stuff that I looked at over the last couple years. I mean, to be honest, I would love to see Mindy Robinson do like a 2 3 hour documentary of finding food. It, I would so watch it. It would be like today's adventures. We're gonna go to all the supermarkets and see if we can find food anywhere. And I will say there are very few foods that actually have no additives in it. But they're already unhealthy, so the government doesn't care to. Although there are companies that will make unhealthy food, put additives in them, like beef. What's the ingredient of beef? Should be beef, right?
Um, I'm I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure it's a freaking cow. Just I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going out on a limb there. Fact check me, but I'm pretty sure beef is a cow.
Well, I've actually seen some ingredients that actually I couldn't even pronounce them. And I'm like, this is burgers. What? You kill the cow, you process the meat and make it beef, and you freeze it to slow down the aging. It, but some companies that make these beef thinks they need to add additives to it. So yeah, there's even though some beef is, better for us because they don't have the additives, but through the grease and stuff, we end up with heart failures.
Yeah, but it's totally worth it. For if the burger's good, it's totally worth it. I love a burger that just like I look at it and I start having like heart palpitations, and it's so like rare that it's like practically mooing at me. It's like mooing, please eat me. I died for your enjoyment. And it's so I obviously like I'm a redneck. We have hunters around here. I'm gonna tell you right now, the best meat you will ever have is fresh deer meat. There's no fat in it. There's obviously like they're just eating vegetation. So as long as wherever they're grazing at isn't tainted, you're not getting any of that nonsense into your system. And man, it's just something else. It's just something else. And again, we've talked about my cats in the past and their diet. Those cats eat better than the majority of human beings in this country. I mean, free range, no antibiotics, nothing added chicken. Like that is what they get. Which is now that we found out that we can get it in like decent volume, guess what we're eating since then? We're eating the same thing. We're not going down the giant and buying Tyson, we're trying to get it as close to a farm with as minimal oversight and crap added to it because we're not worried about preservation because like you said, vacuum seal it and freeze it.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? We can freeze bread. In fact, I've seen bread in supermarkets that get frozen. So there's no reason why we can't freeze many items. However, I know the electric bill would go up if we froze every little thing, and supermarkets would then have to charge more to pay for the electricity.
Well,
Oh,
that's the other thing that like a lot of people don't factor in. These preservatives were basically approved during a time where refrigeration wasn't, you know, available to the masses. What's that? You have a refrigerator in your house? You must be very wealthy. Meanwhile, we're in this day and age where Quinn, there's a freaking refrigerator behind my couch because America. Like I'm sitting in my living room and there's a couch behind me, or there's a refrigerator behind my couch. I can go up to it. I can get ice and water and all that stuff. It's like it's hooked up. Like those are the kind of things where, unfortunately, well, fortunately, unfortunately, or however you want to look at it, that's the kind of crap that inflation really hasn't gotten to. Um, you're old enough to remember when flat screen TVs, like not the flat tube TV, like the first hang on the wall TV came out, and they were like the price of a Toyota Camry. Now everybody's got them.
Well, now, so so I'm hoping to see some chats from the audience. What do you think? Should we defund the FDA and USDA? Eh, Or do you think we should keep them but have an oversight so they're not being bribed by big corporations to to continue allowing to poison our food and water supply?
I do, me personally, like I kind of touched on it before. Unfortunately, because people are greedy, we need something to keep us as citizens safe and not just cater to, General Mills and, whatever. There's like three companies that own freaking everything. So obviously they have some buying power. I mean, donating power when it comes to laws and regulation. I keep saying buying, but I keep forgetting that bribery is illegal, so that would never happen, ever, ever, never. Sorry, I just
Right.
I figured I had to say it that way just for the effect because it's not what I was saying. It's like it's the delivery that's going to resonate with certain people. But yes, as much as I would love to say just wipe it out, you and I both know it won't end well. Because then it will turn into, well, we're not even going to list our ingredients because there's nobody making us. And it could just be like flaming dog shit with sprinkles. And they're going to call it some kind of new cereal. Like, I don't know. But the problem that's happened is all of this poison is in the food because bureaucrats and greedy politicians in Washington have essentially worked together and said, we're going to allow this because Mr. So and so donated to my campaign, allegedly, through some third party, and all of their employees gave $10 rather than the company giving 10 million, things like that. But it's just I don't trust either of them, and I want us to be safe. I want our food to be safe. I really would love to see the preservatives from pre-refrigeration time just go away. We don't need it anymore. And we're a first world nation. Like there's no reason that we should be eating stuff that people who have no food in other countries are like, no, no, I'm gonna go drink from the malaria infested water over there, because I feel safer doing that.
Well, well, this is all the time. This is all the time that we have for tonight. Um, Next week, but I will get my final thoughts in as I gave you your final thoughts. Um, I say defund the USDA. Why? Because we're overspending on it. If companies decide that they want to continue poisoning us, I say we the people take actions like they did in the good old days. Because we lived in because we lived in a time when our founding fathers started this country where we didn't need the government to take care of every little problem. It was the people that would take care of it through information, through protests, through lawsuits, whatever. And I say we can do it again because we gotten too comfortable with the government making legislation and doing all the work for us rather than us doing the work. And that's why most of us Republican and Democrats, are willing to spend tax money on these organizations, but we cannot. But then our laziness gives them power. Our unwilling to take care of issues gives them power. The power that we don't want them to have. And that's so I would say give that back, give that power back to the people. And so next week, we actually have a guest coming on. For those who are in the Parkland, PA school district, you may want to tune in. Um, because he's running for the Parkland School District Board.
Ooh,
And
I saw your interview yesterday, by the way.
nice.
I
And
was like,
we're gonna get
Quinn posted.
yes, and we're gonna have him on a show for a full hour.
Hell yeah.
And so we're gonna get more into depth about everything. That was a short, quick interview, but we're gonna get more deeper in this interview, and hopefully the Tuesday after we get a candidate from who's running for the Allentown School District Board, and he's really, really good. I support him. I support most things that he stands for, most of it, because he actually cares about the students. And
Wait. That's just not allowed. No, Quinn. Nope. We can't allow that. Can't have people in elected positions that actually give a crap about the people voting for them. Nope. Not
but
gonna.
we
Nope.
got
Nope.
well,
Nope. Nope.
we're,
See. We can't be a
we're
news site if we allow people that care to have a voice. What is wrong with you?
well, that's the one thing about this company of mine. I like to break all the rules. Boss.
I mean, if we didn't break rules, would we even be a country? We
Exactly.
I mean, and I mean that like not even trying to be funny. Like we are a country because we broke the rules. We took a chance. Well, our ancestors took a chance, and yes, we did some very very messed up things throughout our history. But we are an experiment, and guess what? We are what we are because we took a gamble, and yes, we do have some things that we need to atone for, in some way, shape, or form. But I am happy to be an American. I am very proud that I was born an American. I'm very fortunate to live in this country, as messed up as it is. Quinn, I'm sure you can think the exact same way. Like we can look at our worst day and it's still going to be better than somebody in some other country with no freedom of speech, no like 100% guarantee that they can eat. No, we've gotten to our country is so bad that we now look for things to complain about because like, oh shit, government's not trying to kill me. Cool. Animals not trying to kill me. I have food. I'm relatively healthy, kind of. Uh, kind of funny after this episode, but yeah. Hey, we're above ground. We don't have another nation occupying us and threatening our lives. So yes, we are extremely fortunate, and I would really like to see people, especially based off of what we talked about tonight, start holding people accountable. You know, vote, call your representatives, and say, "Yo, what the hell happened?" Because I know where our freedom started to go away when we started referring to our representatives as leaders. These people are not leaders,
Mm.
okay? They are elected to be our voice. Essentially, they are an employee. You are not above me. I am not your employee. I am not your piggy bank. Neither is anybody else who is a constituent of you. Okay. You represent them. That is your job. If you cannot do that, then you need to remove yourself from office or you will be removed from office. Okay. So we've been very, very polite as a nation, and we just played a voting game. Keep poking that bear, and you're going to look back at this Donald Trump second term and then how terrible it's going to be. And you're going to say, well, that was a lot easier of a time because people weren't hunting us down. Remember, folks, we used to do that as a country, and then we decided that we wanted to be civilized. We are all animals.
Well, all right. Well, until next week, we will see you later.
Have a good, fantastic evening, everybody. Enjoy your week. It's nice out if you're in our area. Go outside, touch grass, grow a garden or something. You know, at least you know what's in it.
Exactly. Until next week, later.
Later, guys.